Hello. How are you? Oh my god. My camera is 12% battery. It's gonna be the world's shortest vlog. I had it turned off all day long today too. That makes me so angry. Anyway, I had a really good day today. It was really a fun day. I slept in, and then I got a bunch of writing done today, actually. I went into my office and got a bunch of writing done. And then I came home and I made my videos, and Alex was like super helpful with my new ring light. So if I don't know, he bought me a new ring light. I should have showed you guys. First of all, I have like a bunch of P.O. box stuff that I have to show, so maybe I'll do that tomorrow, because it's just been like sitting in my kitchen and I don't want to take it out and use it until I show it. So I need to do that. And then I'll show the ring light and stuff. But he was like, so I have lights for either side that I've used before, and he was like, why don't you just use all three lights? And so I used them tonight, and on my video on my main channel, like, I was like adjusting like the face light, and it didn't like the ring light, and I couldn't like get it right. You guys, like, I'm just not smart with that stuff, right? But by the time that I got to my BookTube channel video, I had it like perfectly set. I was like, this is perfect. So I have it all figured out now. I know how to use it, and so I made videos. I did a book tag video. I had missed doing book tag videos on my BookTube channel, so I did a book tag video, and that was fun. It was a New Year's resolution book tag. And I've got to really plan out my next couple videos on my BookTube channel, because I've got to do like my best reads of 2017, and I've got to do like, I don't know, like the worst reads of 2017 and those kinds of things. So I've got to go through all the books that I've read. I've kind of given up on thinking that I'm gonna like hit my thing, but I think next year I'm gonna make it 100. I don't know if I'm gonna do 100 again or if I'm gonna do 110. I should probably just keep it at 100. Maybe I'll do 101. That would be, because it'd be like more than I did this year that I didn't make, but it would, like, you know. So anyway, so I did that, and then Tanya texted me, and so Tanya's son Nick is visiting. Nick is like kind of my nephew, because I've known him ever since he was, 3.5, 4. I think 3.5. Same. But anyway, he's visiting from Florida. And so she was like, Nick, oh my God, I keep on hiccuping. She was like, Nick wants to go out to dinner with you. She had said that like 2 days ago. My camera is dying, and I have the hiccups on my vlog. I can't believe it. So anyway, she called me and she's like, I'm going to this meeting. I'm going to this women's meeting. When I'm done, I'm going to go pick up Nick, and then do you want to meet somewhere for dinner? And I was like, yeah, but let me make sure I get my videos done, because I want to do my videos and whatever. And she was like, okay. So Alex had like work stuff he had to do all day today. I thought he didn't have to work this week, but he had to work all day today. He had these meetings that he was like, I just have to go in for this one in the morning and then one in the afternoon, and then in the middle of it, he went and had brunch with a friend of ours that's in town from San Francisco. So then when he was done with that, he came home, and then he met up with his best friend and there was like 3 of them in high school that were 3 best friends, and so they went out to dinner, and then he dropped them off, and then he went to this girl's house that he used to work with, and they were having like a wine birthday party, and I just got off the phone with him, so, and I think he's heading home. And so I was at home and I made the videos, and then I went and Tanya called me and she was like, Nick doesn't feel well, he doesn't want to go. He went skiing yesterday and he's like super tired. So he was like, I don't want to go. So Tanya was like, just pick me up and then we'll go out to dinner. And I was like, that's fun. So Tanya and I went to this restaurant called Wolfie's, and it's like a big log cabin, and I did not do very well tonight. Like, I had a garden salad, and then we got these pretzel, oh my God, they were so good, you guys. These pretzel breadsticks that you dip in this amazing cheese. Oh my God, they were so good. And then we got, and then I got macaroni and cheese, and she got like breaded fish or something. And this macaroni and cheese is like some of the best macaroni and cheese I've ever had. And I was like, I'm so tired. She's like, I'm going home and I'm going to get in bed and I'm going to watch a movie. And I was like, okay. So I came home and I wanted to do a live stream really bad. So I did a live stream and I had a really fun time and I stayed on for 2 hours. I was like on there for 2 hours. I couldn't believe it. And so I had a blast doing the live stream, and then I got off the live stream and I took the dogs outside. It is 4 degrees outside, and the thing is that PP wanders around forever, and then he decides to poop at the last minute. But by the time that he has to poop, it's like so cold on his little paws that he can hardly stand anymore. And I was actually talking to Tani about this earlier, and she's like, well, I'm going to tell you what I did for the dogs at the kennel, because the dogs want to go outside and they want to run because they're cooped up all day long. She was like, so I bought like Tiger Balm, or not Tiger Balm, but you know, like balm that, you know, like that oily balm, and she puts it on the bottom of their feet, because then like it protects the bottom of their feet. It protects the bottom of their paws from like the cold weather. So I'm going to do that for PP so he can run around and be outside. Boo and Tucker don't seem to have like, it doesn't seem to bother them at all. Boo just can be outside forever. He loves the cold. And I'll probably do it for all 3 of them though, so that they can enjoy it. And I also heard tonight that somebody said that salt, like on the roads, is really bad for dogs' paws. I didn't know that if that's true, but we don't have salt anywhere near us, so they don't usually salt our street ever. So that was fun, and then now it's this. And I was just listening to my audiobook, The Christmas Room by Katherine Anderson, which I'm now 7 hours into this 15-hour book, and it still has nothing to do with Christmas. I'm like, if you're going to write a Christmas book, it should be like right out of the gate, a Christmas book, period. Because now it's the 27th, going to the 28th of December, and I still have not even gotten to Christmas in my Christmas book. But it's a cute book. I like it. It's like kind of a romance. I mean, it is I would consider it totally a romance, but it's not like Harlequin romance. You know what I mean? It's like sweet. And very sweet characters and very sweet backstories that are kind of sad and tragic, but those sad and tragic backstories bring them all together. I like that. The characters are really well developed in the book. I haven't really listened to my audiobook a whole lot. Like, I've listened to it like a half an hour at night, and this week, because of, you know, just craziness going on, and I kind of like forgot how much I missed just driving and listening to my audiobook, or how much I just missed reading, period. Oh my Lord. This was a good day. It was really a peaceful day. I felt like still all day, you know what I mean? Like, I've had like such horrible like ADHD my entire life that a lot of times that like, and it switched for me. Like, I don't know if people know this, but like ADHD a lot of times switches from like when you're an adolescent to when you become an adult, it switches. And mine has always, like, I've never been diagnosed, but like I've taken tests from like counselors, and like every single one of them, they're like, you're off the charts. Not to mention I've had a million teachers say it, but like back in the day we called it hyperactive disorder. And so the older I get, the way that it goes is that I feel like there are days that I feel kind of manic, and that stupid battery is on 0. I feel, if you guys, if it just ends, I say this all the time, but if it does tonight, I apologize, and I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. But a lot of times I feel kind of like very like manic. It's interesting because people are always like, you need to drink more coffee, or you shouldn't have drank so much coffee or whatever when I do my videos. I'm like, typically when I make my videos and I'm kind of manic is like when I haven't had any coffee or caffeine, because caffeine, like, that's why people that are truly ADHD are put on stimulants, because it has a counter effect on it. So like when I drink a cup of coffee on the days that I'm feeling that way, like, it calms me down. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's so, it makes me feel very much in control. And I've had such a bad cough the last 24 hours. I would eat a throat lozenge right now, But I know that there's one person out there that can't stand when I eat throat lozenges. I don't know who you are. But every time I do, they go, oh, that throat lozenge again. I'm always like, I'm sorry. Like, my throat hurts. I'm sorry. So anyway, but I won't do it tonight because I know it's irritable for people, or it's irritating for people. But so like, but as the older I get, it just like, it makes me very distracted. Like, I remember reading this book years ago, and it was called Driven to Distraction. And it's about like adult ADD and ADHD, which are very different. And I like feel so distracted at times. Like, I can't focus. It's like people will say in my videos, they're like, you go on 20 different tangents. I like literally sometimes, you guys, I cannot help it. It's not just on my videos, it's like how I am in life. Like, I would think that by now watching my vlog, you would know that. It's like I talk about one thing and then I go here, and then I go over here, and then I go over here. It's like, you know, that's just how like my mind works, you know. And it's strange because it works well for me to some degree. It's like, I know that sounds strange, but like, as far as like a creative person, like, it allows me to like start a lot of projects and get a lot done. It just, I have a hard time focusing on any one project for any one period of time. That's my problem. And like, people like in the past, I've had assistants, and I get very frustrated with assistants. I always get very nice assistants, but I get very frustrated because I'm like, I had this girl, she was so sweet, and she was like a grad student, and she was like my assistant for our website that we were, like our website that we do, and she was like, you know, like I would have her do stuff, but then like, I would say like, honestly, like, if you could just sit here and keep me company, like, this is gonna sound crazy, I'd be like, okay, let's go get go get me a coffee. Like, I wouldn't say, go get me a coffee. I'd be like, would you mind going across the street and get me a coffee while I like do these things? And then I'd be like, oh, actually, let's just go together. And so we would go together, and we'd get a coffee, and then we'd come back, and then like, I would start having her do stuff, but like, I would watch her, and I'm like very OCD about things too, and I would be like, you know, just, why don't you just sit here and like keep me company, and I'll do it, and then you can just keep me company, because that'll like really help. And what I really learned is that a lot of times I function better if somebody's sitting like right next to me. And it's interesting because if I go back like in school when I was growing up, like a lot of times when I was like in elementary school, I had an aide that would like help me stay focused on what I was doing. You guys, these are years before we ever had the diagnoses and kids getting medication to stay focused and all that. I mean, we didn't know, you know, but I would have like a teacher that like, a lot of times a teacher's aide that would sit with me just to help me stay focused. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I kind of wonder if it goes back to that. So like, me having an assistant is totally pointless because like, I don't delegate. I don't delegate at all. I'm horrible with it. And in fact, when I worked back in the day in treatment, it was like I would always have interns that were getting their like master's degrees, you know, and my supervisor would always get like real upset with me. She'd be like, you don't delegate anything to them. You don't let them do anything. And I'd be like, yes, I do. And she'd be like, no, you don't like you'll let them chart group notes, but like over that, like, she's like, you don't let them do this. And I'm like, well, like if it's done wrong, then I'll have to go back in and redo it. And she's like, why can't you trust that? You know, they're gonna do it. And the last two interns that I had when I worked there were absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And I just started letting them do stuff. And you know, like, I look at that, and that's probably why they were fantastic, was because I stepped out of the way and allowed them to do the work. It didn't have anything to do with me, you know? I was standing in the way of somebody else's success, probably. So, I don't know. I just know that I don't need an assistant. I'm not the kind of person that needs an assistant. I need to do my shit on my own. I feel better that way anyway, you know? Call me a control freak. I am a little bit of a control freak. I think, you know, I think a lot of people that are creative or driven, I think, are very controlling because they have such a clear vision of how they want things to be. But they also have a very clear vision that if they want to change it at any time, they want to change it, right? They don't want to have to explain that to somebody. They just want to change it. And, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've sat down to make a video and I've said, okay, this is exactly the direction that it's going to go into. And 2 minutes into it in my head, I'm like, I'm going to do something completely different with this video. You know what I mean? Like, and, so yeah. What was I talking about? I don't even know talking about. See, I'm driven to destruction. I remember my mom and I read that book, and we both did, and I was like, I relate to this book so much. Like, this is totally me. I was like, do you relate to it at all? And she's like, yeah, totally. This is you. I had to live with it the whole time you were growing up. She's like, I wish I'd had this book, you know, when you were 4 or 5. And I thought that was so interesting that, you know, we saw this book in 2 completely different perspectives. She saw it as a parent of a child that was that way, and, you know, but it was hard for me, you know, when I was a kid. I was, you know, one second wanting to do a puppet show, and then I wanted to write a book, and then I wanted to read a book, and, you know, then I wanted to have a sleepover, you know, with my stuffed animals, and, you know, then I wanted to build a tent, and I was an only child, and I had no friends, so all of this was all alone, you know, conjuring up all kinds of imaginary stories. I remember, like, when I had friends, but I just never had, like, friends that I was real close with. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't. There's another Steak and Shake, and it's not the same one. There's Steak and Shakes everywhere. You want to know what America is? Okay, so my camera just cut off, and I'm not really sure why. Anyway. White Castle. I haven't had White Castle. I was going to go through there one night, and I was going to get onion rings and mozzarella sticks, and I didn't end up doing it. Taco Bell, McDonald's. What does it say on there? Billions and billions served. That is probably the truth. The yellow arches. I need to take my car through and get a car wash. Alex the other day was like, your car is so dirty, it's disgusting. I was like, I know. He goes, I'm gonna give you one of my free car washes. I was like, I've got my free car washes from last year when my dad gave them to me. He was like, then why haven't you washed your car? I said, I hate going through the car wash. When I was a kid, my uncle and his dog Snoopy, well, it was really my cousin's dog Snoopy, but it was really my uncle's, you know how that goes. He would take Snoopy everywhere with him. Anyway, he and Snoopy, or maybe it was Mickey. She had Mickey after that. I think it was Mickey. He and Mickey got caught in the car wash. Like, the car wash broke down, or there was a blackout or something, and, like, the whole thing stopped, and he was stuck in there for, like, 2 hours in this car wash. I don't know why I remember that. And I've even said it to him. I've even been like, Uncle Dave, do you remember the time that you got caught in the car wash? He's like, no. I'm like, how do you not remember that? It terrified me for years. I feel like I get fears in my life. Do you guys do this? Like, I get fears in my life through what other people have gone through. Like, I've talked about this, I think, actually on here. It's weird that this would have happened to me 40 years ago. Like, literally when I was, like, 5 years old. And it still affects me. Is that I had a babysitter, and she was probably 13 at the time, this one summer. And her sister was in driver's ed, and they were in a car, and it was like one of the students driving, the teacher, and 2 kids in the back. And there was a semi in front of them and a 7-Up truck behind them. I think it was a 7-Up truck. I might be wrong about that. And it, like, smashed them, and they, like, died instantly, like, everybody in the car. And I remember that, and she never babysat for me again, and I never had met her sister. Like, I didn't know her sister. And, like, I would see her later, like, you know, around, like, how would I have seen her later? I was going to say I saw her later, like, when in school, but I would never have been in school with her, because it would have been, like, a 6-year age difference, so no, I wouldn't have. I guess just in the neighborhood or something. But anyway, I remember her, and I always just thought, like, when something like that so tragic happens to somebody, it's like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And then, like, my sophomore year in high school, I remember there was this kid, and he and, like, these, like, he had this, like, van, and he and, like, these guys went over to this girl's house, and she lived at this, like, her driveway was really long off the road, and they had been drinking or something, I think. I could be wrong about that too, but I'm almost positive that they were. And he was, like, really tired, and so he stayed, like, in the van, and they went into the girl's house, and he ended up, like, the van caught on fire and, like, burnt him alive in the fire. It was horrible. I remember, like, everybody was, like, really, I didn't even know him hardly. Like, he was, like, in one class of mine, and that was, like, the first year we were together in school. So I didn't, because we had, like, the junior highs that, like, met, and I didn't really know him at all. It was, like, horrible, horrible thing that happened. And I remember, like, my senior year, I was on spring break with my parents, and we were on the same plane as the girls the house that they had gone visiting. And I remember just, like, I would see her randomly. We went to St. Martin. I don't know, this is so stupid, but, like, I saw her, like, different places, like, while we were, I think they were staying, like, we, like, rented, like, this part of this, we rented, like, a place on the beach, and, they were staying at, like, some, like, casino, resort golf or something, and we went there one night to go gambling, and, imagine that, and, she was there. Anyway, I just remember always, like, thinking, like, that this eerie story surrounded her, you know, like how you look at somebody different that's gone through that, something like that. What's really interesting is that there was a girl that I actually knew very, very well in high school. We were never friends, but I knew her well. We were in a lot of classes together, and I was in orchestra in high school. I played the violin, and not my proudest moment. I was second violin, about last seat, always. I was horrible. I was going to make a video about this on my Peterisms channel. I probably should, because I can remember going to state, and I thought we were going to lose state because of me, and we ended up winning the state. I don't even think my bow ever hit the screen, or hit the string, not one time, because I was so terrified I would lose for everybody. But this girl that I was in orchestra with, like, she was in a car accident, like, a week after we graduated from high school, and the girl that was killed, I did know as well, and, like, they were in a car accident together, and I think the other girl was driving the car, and she was in the passenger seat, and they, like, went off the road and hit a tree or something, and there was, like, no drugs or alcohol involved, but, like, I ran into her, like, 2 years ago, and we started talking and stuff, and I said something to her about, like, oh, what do you do now? And, like, she had, like, this real sadly life, and I'll never forget, she looked at me and she said, you know, I've really never got over what happened to me. And she just kind of, like, said it out loud. People always tell me the most random shit. I don't know why people feel so comfortable telling me stuff about their lives, but, like, they always do. And I'll never forget, she looked at me and she said, you know, I've really never gotten over what happened. I've never really ever come to terms with it. And it just, like, she had this really sad life. And I was like, you know, like, I don't know, it makes me sad. Like, how do you move past those tragic events in our lives, you know? Like I talked about this last night, tragedy occurs in all of our lives, you know? Like, that's horrible shit right there, you know? I don't know. How do you, I mean, I back in the day, used to have to deal with so many patients that had been in, like, fatal car accidents with people, you know? And it's like, how do you live through that? You, like, see somebody. I remember this one kid that I had. I think actually the other counselor, because we had our caseloads were split, but, like, I think we had, like, a lot of groups together. But they had just, here you go, for all those people out there that think that smoking marijuana doesn't affect you. They had not been doing anything but smoking marijuana. And he was really, really high. And they went around the corner, and, like, they're out in the country, and they went around the corner, and the car flew, like, out into this cornfield, and the kid that was driving the car, no, he wasn't driving the car, he was in the passenger seat. The kid that was the patient, he flew out of the car, and, like twisted and turned, and he, like, broke his leg, literally, from, like, the waist down. The car, like, the guy that was inside the car, it, like, slammed up against this tree upside down, and he's, like, on the ground, and he can't move. It's, like, 1 o'clock in the morning. They're out in the middle of this cornfield. Nobody knows they're out there, and he had to watch his friend die. Hanging upside down in the car, just watched him die, like, for, like, 3 hours, because the guy was in, like, so much pain, and he couldn't get up, he couldn't move to him, and there was nothing he could do. They, like, had to wait until, like, the morning came so that they could, like, I'll never forget that. And he went and did, like, victim impact panels and talked about the danger of drugs and alcohol. He talked to all these people about his story and told his story. I think, like, he actually has a YouTube video out there somewhere telling his story. And or some kind of video somewhere out there where he's telling the story of what happened. There was like this whole series of videos that went out that was called like The Truth About Marijuana or something like that, and I think he was part of that. Like his story was part of that. I can't even imagine, you know? I can't even imagine. I think there's like such gruesomeness out there in the world. It's like, that's a blessing, you know, that I haven't had to deal with anything like that, you know? I mean, I talk a lot about my mom's passing, but let's be completely honest, you know? My mom died in a hospital bed. She was very comfortable. You know, she was surrounded by her friends and family. She wasn't in any pain, and she basically just drifted off. I mean, if she wasn't already gone mentally then anyway, you know what I mean? Like, and, I mean, honestly, and I don't mean this to minimize losing my mother, but there's not really any better way to go, you know? I mean, other than being maybe at home and going the same way without any pain and just slipping off. But like, I mean, if you could pick how to go, I think that's kind of maybe how I would pick, you know? I do know in like working with grief with people in the past that like the people that have the hardest time grieving or like accepting their grief are the people that didn't have any forewarning of it, like with suicides or car accidents and things like that, like instant tragedies, you know? I think the people that didn't get a chance to say goodbye, I think they have a much more difficult time with it. They also need more of like the physical funeral process, if that makes sense, because it's closure to them. Or I don't even know that I felt like I needed some of that stuff. Like, it didn't change it for me, you know, like what I went through and like my saying goodbye occurred like in that hospital room. It did not occur in a funeral home. It just didn't. She was gone, you know, she was a bag of soul, like she said, and she was gone by that point. Like, this video has been all over tonight, you guys, and I'm only at like 20 minutes. And I don't even know how much battery I have because it's not even showing up right now. So that probably just means it's dead. I would say it's running on fumes, but a camera doesn't have fumes, right? I went a completely different way right now, way out in the country. Like way out in the country. Well, not way out, I was just in the city, but I'm getting way out in the country. It's pretty. I like driving and just getting lost and then having to find my way back home, which is so easy with GPS these days, and just driving down like random roads. I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things. Listening to audiobooks. Last night, Tanya and I were driving around, and I listened to 76 on Sirius sometimes, and it's classical music. And Tanya was so funny. She leaned her head back, and she was so tired, and she closed her eyes, and she said, "Now, what sonata is this?" And I'm like, looking over there as if she would have any clue what it was anyway, you know? And I looked over at her, and she was just had this big smile on her face. And she's like, "This is really nice." She's like, "I don't listen to classical music very often." And then she went into this whole thing about, she had like, for her anniversary, her wedding anniversary was just last week. And, 27 years, I think she said. And she said, was it 30 or 27? I think it was 27. And she said that all she wanted was for her husband Eric to take her to the Nutcracker. So she went to the Nutcracker this year and she loved it. And she said at the intermission, her husband Eric, he's so funny, he goes, "I like musicals, but there's not much singing and dancing in this one." And Tanya goes, "Eric, it's the Nutcracker. It's a ballet. It's not a musical. There's no songs in it. There's no singing in it." He goes, "Well, I wondered when the singing was going to start happening." I all of a sudden just like started going up this very high hill. I'm like, what is going on? We don't even have high hills like this in Indiana. Where is this coming from? Reminds me a little bit of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. But I do think that I need to turn around now because I'm so far out now, I have no clue where I'm at. And it makes me want to lock my door. You gotta be careful, you know, always. Safety first. Now, tomorrow I have absolutely nothing to do, and Alex is going to the hospital with his friend, and he has a meeting in the morning, and he's going to the hospital with his friend, so he'll be gone all day long, and I'm sure when he comes home, he'll be absolutely exhausted. So I'm going to do a live stream sometime tomorrow night, probably, and because we have plans this weekend of stuff we're going to do. And then this is like I don't have any clue where I'm at. This is like a big gravel pit, like, you know, like industrial thing here. Where am I? Junction 36. I'm gonna turn around, but I'm gonna show you what Indiana looks like, because this is crazy town. I have no idea where I'm at. Like, this is right, I mean, this is out in the middle of nowhere. Do you guys want to see what's all over Indiana, everywhere you go? Okay. North State Road 109. This is what Indiana looks like. Just these big, like, and then they just, like, make cement or something, sand, I don't know. Somebody in the comment section below will know what they make. Anyway, I am going to take a relaxation day tomorrow. I'm going to make my videos, like, real quick, and then I'm going to relax and just enjoy my day tomorrow is what I'm going to do. Excited about it, honestly. I'm gonna sleep in. I wish I had somebody to get brunch with tomorrow. Maybe I'll call Melissa and see if she wants to get brunch. I called her today, she didn't call me back. I think I don't know if they're back in town yet. She and her husband go out of town for a couple days because, like, they have to visit so many family. We're going on New Year's Eve. We're going with Melissa and Jason and Aaron and Eric and Eric's sister and brother-in-law and us. We're going out to dinner, and then we're going to this party downtown. So I'm real excited about it. But I don't know what I'm going to wear, so I have to figure that out. I probably won't know what I'm wearing until New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve for me is kind of a lame holiday because it's like amateur night, and I don't like being out super late on New Year's Eve because it's like when all the drunks are out. And I really, to be honest with you, like, I told Alex, like, I said, okay, we're gonna do this thing this year, but next year, like, I want to be on a beach, or I want to be, like, in a cabin in the mountains. Like, I want to do something different next year. He was like, yeah, that's totally fine. Let's figure it out. Maybe we can get some couples. I said, that would be great. Like, with 3 couples to go somewhere, to go, like, to an island, or to, like, get a cabin somewhere, you know? And so I want to do that next year, like a cabin in Gatlinburg, or even just Brown County, Indiana would be awesome. And, you know, I feel like it's such a spiritual holiday. I don't know why. Maybe that's because I was in treatment on New Year's. But I feel like it's such a rebirth, such a restart, you know? I always think every year, like, what are my goals for the next year going to be? Like, what do I want to accomplish next year? I should go back and watch my very first vlog from last year. Maybe I'll do that later. And see what I said on there about my goals for 2017. Wouldn't that be interesting? See if I've met any of them, you know? And maybe every year in my vlog I'll do that and talk and, like, dedicate one whole, you know, show, one whole vlog to that. Now, the 31st going into the 1st, the first day of January will be the vlog from the 31st, and it will be, what do you call it? New Year's Eve. I think the 30th, I'm going to do my year review on here and talk about all the things that have happened in the year. And then I think on the 29th, I'm going to do something. I want to do something cool with this too. I mean, I'll still be driving around, but talking about something, so. Anyway, that's what you have to look forward to the next couple days. I'm going to do, like, my favorite things from the year of, like, you know, 2017 or something like that. So, I'm excited. All right, you guys. I will talk to you later. Bye. Love ya.